Welcome to The Explainer. So let's just jump right in with a huge question, one that seems simple on the surface but has stumped thinkers for, well, centuries. What is music, really?
All right, to get our heads around this, let's start with a bit of a paradox. Think about a famous piece of music, say Beethoven's Fifth. Where does that song actually live? I mean, what is the real song?
Is it some kind of abstract, perfect pattern? An unchanging structure, almost like a math equation? That's what the Platonists would have argued. Or is it just the fleeting physical sound waves bouncing around a room for a few minutes? The temporary vibration in the air, which is what the Nominalists would tell you.
So right there you've got a huge paradox. I mean, if it's just a pattern, why bother listening to it? The idea itself should be enough, right? But on the other hand, if it's just a sound, how can a performance today and another one from 100 years ago both be Beethoven's Fifth? They're totally different physical events.
Well, the answer, according to the model we're exploring today, isn't either or, it's actually all of the above. It's a really brilliant solution, suggesting that music isn't just one thing, it's actually three different things all working together in a special relationship.
And these three things are what we're calling the three dimensions of music. They are pattern, action, and experience. Let's break down what each one means.
Okay, first up is the pattern. Think of this as the blueprint for the music. It's the underlying structure, right? The relationships between all the notes, the rhythms, the harmonies. It's basically the pure potential just waiting to be realized. And a pattern could be a lot of different things. It could be a super detailed written score, like something from Bach, but it could also be a really loose framework, like the basic chords for a jazz standard, like Miles Davis's So What? Heck, it could even just be a song that you have completely memorized, living right inside your head. It's that potential, that structure just waiting to happen. All right, dimension number 2, action. This one's huge, because a pattern is just an idea, right? It's pure potential until somebody or something does something with it. Action is that crucial bridge that takes the blueprint and starts to build the house. So action could be a pianist playing a sonata. It could be an opera singer belting out an aria. It could even be you just hitting play on your phone. And get this, it even includes just hearing a song in your head, which has a cool name, audiation. The point is, without some kind of action, a musical score is just ink on paper, and an MP3 is just a bunch of ones and zeros. And that brings us to the final and maybe the most important piece of the puzzle, experience. All that action creates sound, but it doesn't become music until a mind, a consciousness, hears it and processes it. You know that old question, if a tree falls in a forest and no one is around to hear it, does it make a sound? Well, it definitely makes sound waves, but it for sure doesn't make music. And this is where you come in. Because as a listener, you're not just a passive sponge soaking up sound. No way. You are an active participant. Your brain is busy structuring those sounds into melodies. You're anticipating what's going to happen next. You're feeling emotions. You're deciding if you even like it. You're giving it meaning. And that's absolutely crucial. Because
these three dimensions, pattern, action, and experience, they're not just a simple checklist. No, they form this amazing, dynamic, self-reinforcing loop. And it's inside that loop that music is actually born.
So think about it like this. The pattern, the sheet music, guides the action so the pianist knows what to play. That action then produces the sound. For our experience, we hear the music. But here's the magic part. Our experience then feeds back and changes how we understand the pattern. It's a loop. The more you listen to a really complex song, the more of its inner structure and patterns you start to notice. It's incredible.
And this quote just nails it. Music isn't some static object that you can put in a box. It's an event. It's a dynamic process that only happens when all three of these things, pattern, action, and experience, come together.
Okay, so this is where things get really, really interesting. Because this three-part model doesn't just define what music is, it also explains why your taste in music is so uniquely yours, and why it's so different from, say, your taste in food.
Let's look at this chart. Your taste in food? Super dependent on your body. You're hungry? Food tastes great. Simple. Taste in beauty? Well, that's hugely shaped by cultural and social norms, right? But look at music. It has a really low dependency on external factors. It's all about that internal, self-reinforcing loop we just talked about. Your musical taste is built from the ground up by your own personal experiences with it. And that, right there, is why your guilty pleasures aren't something to be guilty about at all. They are perfectly valid. So what if all the critics hate that pop song you love? Your preference isn't wrong. It's been self-validated by your own personal music loop. You've experienced it and it works for you. End of story.
This model also perfectly explains how we get acquired tastes. Let's take something tricky, like free jazz. The first time you hear it, the first 5 times, your experience might just be, whoa, this is just noise. Your brain can't find the pattern. But if you stick with it, after 20 listens, maybe you start picking up on little moments, these microstructures. By 50 listens, you're actually following the improvisational logic. You're understanding the pattern. And eventually, what was once noise becomes this rich, emotionally powerful experience. That's the loop in action, literally rewiring your brain.
So let's bring it all home. What's the big takeaway here? How does all of this fundamentally change the way we should think about music?
Well, it really boils down to this incredibly powerful idea from musicologist Christopher Small: music is a verb, not a noun. Just think about that for a second. Music isn't an object. It's not a thing you can point to out in the world, like a book or a chair.
No, music is something we do. It's an action, an activity that we all participate in. It doesn't matter if you're the one composing it, the one performing it, or the one actively listening to it. You are taking part in the act of, as you called it, musicking. You are helping bring music into existence.
And that leaves us with one last, kind of mind-bending thought. If music really, truly only exists in that moment of experience, what does that make you, the listener? Are you just a passive bystander, or are you actually the final, essential co-creator in the act of making music? Something to think about next time you press play.